Hello, dear students. Welcome to the session on how to study GST. So, first things first, I'll tell you what you can expect from this session. Okay. First thing is we will analyze our previous attempt paper and see how much weightage each chapter consists of and what is the difficulty level of each chapter, and we'll see how much time it requires for us to cover each chapter. Okay. Then you will have to stay until the end of this video to see what are the methods that you should imply to study GST. All right. So I hope all of you are ready, and whatever confusions you have, anything, we are here to clear it, and let us discover what are the best ways to study GST. Okay. So we all know GST comes for 50 marks, and I personally believe that if you do well in GST, it can be a game changer for you in your exams. Why is it? I'll tell you. See, your total tax textbook consists of 824 pages. For those who love looking at pages, see, most of us love looking at pages and say, oh, this is just 10 pages or this is just 20 pages. You know, the bigger the chapter, more the tension. The bigger the pages, longer pages, more the tension for us, right? So here, let me just tell you, see, your total tax book consists of 824 pages. Okay. Out of that, GST consists only of 224 pages. The rest 600 pages is income tax. So only 27% of your textbook is GST, but it covers 50% of the marks. Right? Easy, no? See, only a small part, but bigger chunk of marks. Also, to tell you, GST, if you understand, okay, see, this is a law, right? Nothing creative, nothing, whatever the law says, you have to abide by. Whatever the law says, you have to understand and assimilate, right? So whatever it is, there's no creativity here. So if you understand the concept, if you understand what the law says, that's it. No confusions, nothing. If you see the last year paper, it is a very easy paper, okay? Very, very easy paper. Right, so let's go on and see how they have taken up. Coming to the first chapter, why I'm taking only the previous attempt is only from the previous December 19 attempt you have MCQ, right? So you have MCQ paper from December 19. So based on what could be expected, see, I'm not the question paper setter, so I cannot tell you from which chapter exactly how much marks can come, but at least you can analyze what are the important chapters and how much weightage, how much prominence is being given by the institute for the syllabus. Okay, coming to chapter number 11, what is it about? See, before GST, what was the system existing? Okay, so what were the milestones that were covered? How GST has been brought about, how the seed of GST was sown, and how it was implemented. All these stories they've told you. Most of what I feel in this chapter, see, this is the first chapter and you should begin with this chapter because you need to understand what existed before GST and what were the deficiencies. See, only when you have a need, you will bring in some new form of system, right? So you will understand why earlier indirect taxation system failed in the country and what was the need of GST. See, if you come to the previous attempt, 3 marks were allotted. Okay, 3 marks were allotted, and if you ask me the level of this chapter, it is very easy. Okay, easy, very easy. You can easily cover it. And what is it? It is memory based because you have a few concepts where it's all about dates in some concept, and in some places it is there's nothing much. Okay, there's nothing much to really struggle with this chapter. So I feel you should begin with this chapter. And what is the best way? Audio clip recording. Okay, because you have what are the functions, what are the parts of GST council, you have a lot of things to remember, and date wise you have to remember what came after what, from the seed point to the execution point, what all took place. So all that you will have to remember. Going by number of pages, this chapter consists of 21 pages. Okay, so we'll stay until the end and see in maximum 30 days, how we can cover the entire syllabus. Okay, according to me, if I was a student, if I right now I'm thinking in the eyes of the student. Okay, I'm considering myself as a student and I'm explaining this to you. If I was a student, this was the way I would have studied, right? So this is about chapter 11. Chapter 12, coming to basics of GST. Here we come to what GST is about. In chapter 11, we were only seeing what happened before GST. We saw all the stories, we saw the history behind GST. But coming to chapter 12, this is a prominent chapter because this will explain to you what GST is all about. Okay, what is the taxable event? See, if there is no supply, there's no GST. The taxable event itself under GST is supply. So they will explain what is supply and what are the different forms of supply, forward charge, reverse charge, composition scheme. So I feel this chapter is a prominent chapter, and that is why this has been given 10 marks. Okay, in the previous attempt 10 marks, and level I will say this is a medium level chapter. It's not difficult, it's not even easy. Okay, number of pages, again telling you, only 20 pages. Okay, only 20 pages. Of course, I know I'm not a person who believes in number of pages, but only to tell you how much is the quantum. Okay, only to show you what is the quantum of your frame of studies. Okay, and how should you go about in this chapter? It is all about concept assimilation. Okay, because this chapter is mainly about concept. There's nothing much of memory game here. Most stuff are concept based. Okay, this is about chapter 12. Have some patience with me. I will explain what each chapter consists, what is the level of difficulty, and what you should be doing. And later we'll be seeing how you should adopt a strategy, what should be your way of studying this subject. Okay. Next. Coming to chapter 13, you have time, place, and value of supply. Here, 7 marks has been allotted in the previous attempt. Level is again medium. What is time of supply? What is place of supply? What is value of supply? See now, in value, if your GST, if the value of some good costs you around 100 rupees, what all is included in that value? Okay, so what is not included in that value? There are a lot of things for you to remember. Coming to time of supply also, whatever the law says, whatever the rule says, you have to go by it, right? So here I feel there is both concept as well as memory based, because whatever they say, what provisions they say, you have to abide by it, right? So here I feel you have to constantly revise, because you'll have to remember what are the various provisions given for time of supply under forward charge, reverse charge, under various concepts. So number of pages here is 24. Reasonably okay. So most chapters are in the range of 20 pages to 25 pages, not much at all. Okay, and the level of this chapter is again medium. It's not very easy, it's not very difficult, it's medium. Okay, nothing difficult at all. Next, coming to chapter number 14. Okay, coming to chapter number 14. What are we going to see in chapter number 14? Input tax credit. What is input tax credit? Yes, you are well aware by now. You know that, right? So whatever tax you pay on your purchases is your input tax. You can set it off along with your output tax liability. That is your input tax credit, right? Simple. I feel this chapter is interesting. Okay, this chapter is no doubt very interesting and also not very difficult. As I'm telling you, under GST, compared to other subjects of your group, compared to other subjects, your level of scoring as well as the level of difficulty of this subject is relatively good. Okay, next, here in this, best method is concept assimilation. Again, you need to understand. Okay, I'll tell you in the further slides why is it so important. Even though being an MCQ paper, why is it so important for you to assimilate the concepts? All right, so here you have around 23 pages in this chapter, not a very big chapter. Aram se you can cover this. Coming to next one, procedural complaints. This chapter holds the maximum marks. Okay, this chapter holds the maximum marks, that is 14 marks has been allotted for this chapter, and no doubt this is the biggest chapter in your syllabus. Okay, 53 pages, and I feel this chapter is somewhere in medium to difficult range. Okay, medium to difficult because it has a lot to remember. Like, until you study this, there's a lot to study. Okay, lot. And also I feel it is memory based. It all talks about provisions of registration, how you register, what is the procedure, what is the rules, and what are the contents of a tax invoice, debit note, credit note, how accounts should be maintained, how electronic credit ledger, cash ledger, how payment of taxes should be done, refunds will be done. So all these things will come under this chapter. And this chapter is no doubt very interesting, as well as this will require some amount of extra time and patience from your side. What is the best method is constant revision. This chapter, if you read once and if you say, oh, I know that chapter, in 1 week you'll forget it. Okay, yes. Next, coming to chapter number 16, easiest chapter. For me, this is the easiest chapter in your syllabus. Ask me why. Because in this chapter, most topics are repeated. What if we have studied before? No, how credit will be set off, or how IGST will be levied. You've already studied that IGST will be levied if there is interstate supply. So basically, this chapter, if you have studied the previous chapters, most of the things are already covered here. There's nothing new, okay? And not difficult also. Very easy. And look at the amount of marks here. 6 marks, okay? 6 marks, easy peasy chapter. Again, constant revision. Number of pages, 24. Okay. Hi, Kritika Palani Swami. I can see your comment here. Very interesting breakup. Okay. Thank you. Gives me so much confidence. Of course, this session is to boost your confidence. See, as a student, let me talk as a student, okay? As a student, you will feel, oh, there's so much. I have group 1, group 2, so many subjects, 50 marks that, 50 marks this. Don't know what to study. I studied one chapter, I forgot the other chapter. See, totally normal, okay? Totally normal. You just need to relax yourself. The only thing is strategic planning, okay? And I am showing you how you can strategically plan. Okay, if I was a student, I would have done this. If you have a better plan, go ahead with it. Okay, for each one of you, different plans will work. If you want to follow this way of planning, definitely go ahead. Okay, see, as a student, what happens? You feel so tense. No, there's so much on my head. Everywhere there's books. There's so much to cover. I have to do that, and this. Right? Absolutely normal. But if you sit down and break up things, okay, let's say in GST, what is there? Okay, there's only so many chapters, only 50 marks. And as I told you, very little book. You can get 50 marks. Out of 50, if you're able to score 40. And in income tax, if you're for 50 marks, let's say you score about 35 also. Wow, 70 to 75 is an amazing score, right? Don't you think so? So you have to plan your studies. If you score 70 to 75, or even say, let's say 50, 70 to 80 in income tax and GST, your automatic total in the group will go up. So even in any other subject, if you just manage to pass with some border, that's still okay, right? Your aggregate, you will still be covering your aggregate. So that way you should plan and study. You have to plan in such a way that at least in 2 subjects, you have to score above 60 marks. At least in 2 subjects. Only then you will clear your paper. In every paper, you can't say, I will just pass, right? No, because you will not tend to like all the subjects, right? You will tend to like GST, but not income tax, or you may tend to like jurisprudence, but not some other subject, right? So that way, whatever interests you the most, make sure you score that extra edge. Make sure you go the extra mile and you score more in that subject, okay? Also, chapter 16 is over. Now, last, coming to customs. Okay, customs 5 marks. Okay, I feel customs is a little medium to difficult chapter, not very easy, because there's a lot of things to understand and remember, and some things to some words are not very easy to assimilate sometimes. If you just read it like that as a story, you will not understand it. So you will need little, okay? I'm not scaring you at all. Little extra patience, but once you study, once you understand, you're good to go. All right. Now, here you have around 30 pages. Okay. And best method for this is audio clip recording, because there's so much to remember. There's so much to remember in customs. So here, Now I've set out a field as to what your subject covers and what is the level of difficulty. And in the previous attempt, how much marks has been allotted. See here, this is a chart. If you see, chapter 12 and chapter 15 have got the highest marks. So what should be your priority? That you will no doubt cover everything in that chapter. Okay. So you will no doubt cover everything in that chapter. Next. Now, how many days you might require for GST? How many days? Maximum of, let me say, even if you go very slowly, okay, very slowly, alongside with any other subject, you will require maximum of 30 marks. Oh, 30 days, sorry. All right, so I'm just going through your comments, what it is. Fine. Maximum of 30 days. Coming to the first chapter, that is the intro chapter, because you're still new to GST and you want to understand what happened before and why this was all brought about, we can say you can keep an average of three days. It again depends on your speed. Okay, some of you might finish it in 1 day, some of you might finish it in 3 days. Again depends on your speed, so you manage your time. Again depends on how fast you assimilate things, right? So first 3 days. Second chapter, that is basics of GST. Here it is a little lengthy chapter and lot of concepts. Okay, many concepts for you to understand and give yourself some time to settle down into GST. Once you're through with second chapter, you've already set your foot into GST. Take around maximum of 5 days. Okay, 5 days, I think it should be well enough. Next, time, value and place. Here you have some things to remember. As I told you, it's a memory based chapter. So again, you take around 4 days. Okay, not much. 4 days should be totally sufficient. Next, ITC chapter, input tax credit chapter, again 4 days. Procedural compliance, as this has the highest number of pages. I told you, right? 54 pages, you have one. Second, this will come for highest weightage. Maximum marks, last attempt it has been asked. So consider this, give extra prominence to this chapter. Then IGST chapter, as I told you, very easy. Whatever you've studied in all the previous chapters, same thing will come. No, most concepts are again repeated in this chapter. So you just take around 2 days. Customs, again, I feel it's a little medium to difficult. Take around 5 days for this thing. So totally, if at all you say maximum, how many days you might require to cover GST, maximum, alongside any other subject. Okay, alongside, not just GST I'm talking, it might take you around 30 days. Okay, 30 days. Next, coming to method of study. How should you study? See, we all students will sit and study, no doubt. Everybody is serious about clearing exams. Everybody is talented, smart, intelligent, no doubt at all. Okay, but still only a few pass, right? Only a few pass. Why is it? Because each student's strategy, each student's technique, and the way they look at things are really different. Okay. The way that I might sit and study for 10 to 14 hours, but my friend might just sit and study for 5 to 6 hours a day, but he might clear, I may not clear, right? Possible, right? You might have seen your own friends like that. Why do you think such a thing is happening? Why? Because this person already has a plan. He has a well-definite plan. Okay. In so many days, I will cover so much. In next 30 days, I will cover GST. That's it. In next 5 days, I will cover this chapter. In next 3 days, I will cover this chapter. You have a definite frame. Okay. Always having a plan of action is a must. If you don't have a plan of action, see, you're aiming for such a big thing, right? You're aiming for such a big thing. No doubt you've chosen such a difficult course. So you have a lot to study, of course. Just by saying you have such a big pile to study is not going to help. So I'll help you to make a frame and how you should go on studying. Because this is an MCQ paper, okay? Because this is an MCQ paper, your approach towards looking into this paper will be a little different, okay? So here, study line by line. See, in MCQ papers, what happens? They can ask you from any corner of the textbook, any corner. It might be unrelated and not important at all. You might feel, what is this? This is not even important. But still, he might end up asking question. He might say, on what date GST Council was brought about? You'll be like, wow, I don't remember. Why? How will you remember so many dates, right? But so that's why I'm telling you, study line by line. It'll take you time. Of course, it'll take you time. I'm not saying no. But when you study line by line, you make sure that you've not missed anything. And please study from your ICSI module only. Of course, you can keep any other books for your reference just to simplify topics. All that is secondary. But first, most important thing is, please keep your textbook with your ICSI module. See, that question paper, the examiner or whoever says the question paper, he's not going to refer your Singhania or somebody else. No, he's going to look at the institute's module only and give you the question paper. And you have the textbook with you. You have the module with you. What else do you want, right? So study line by line. Definitely time taking, but it will be worth it. Okay. Don't go for shortcuts. Shortcuts is not the solution. Okay. Next. Grasp the concept. See, most of us are in the habit of saying Rattamaru, okay? Like, you're not interested in understanding, assimilating the concept and all. But you will feel like, okay, let me just mug it up. What the line says, let me just mug it up. See, nobody's asking you to write 2 marks, 5 marks, 10 marks. This is not an essay paper, right? This is not a descriptive paper. Here, maximum what he'll ask you, according to this section, this, A, B, C, D, which one is correct, right? So if you have already understood the concept, what does supply say? What does taxable event? What do you mean by taxable event? What is included in the value of supply? Okay, relate it to your life. Make examples of your own. Okay, grasp the concept. If you see in my classes, what I do, I usually give a lot of examples so that you can relate it. If you relate it, you will again remember, oh, ma'am had told me that example. Okay, somebody came. Mr. A had brought in here. So when you relate it to some examples, it'll be easier for you to actually grasp the concept. Next, use colored pens and highlighters. Why I'm telling you is, if your textbook is clean and neat, it means you've not done any effort, trust me. If your textbook is clean and neat, it means you've not done any sort of effort. Please use colored pens. Next, see, first time you'll study. Next time when you open your textbook, you will feel like, oh, did I even study this? When did I study this? I don't seem to remember. Most students, I get some messages saying, I finished the entire subject, but now I'm unable to recall it. There's so less time for exams. Now that it has got merged with December, that's a different question. I don't know what to do. I'd already finished this. Why does that happen? You tell me. You just go on reading it. Don't read, study. Okay, please don't read anything. Study it, understand it, assimilate it, grasp it. Use colored pens, highlighters. Keep different colors. Okay, and wherever you feel is important, whatever you feel, see, look into the textbook in the eyes of a question paper setter. Okay, when you're reading, think you are the examiner. You are the question paper setter. Okay, see, okay. If you were setting a paper, how would you ask questions? Oh, here, there is one question here. So what you'll do, you will mark potential MCQ points. Let's say, okay, at this date, so-and-so GST Council was formed. At this date, that happened. Or value of supply does not include so-and-so. See, think of yourself as a question paper setter and you read it. Then your perception towards looking into the subject itself will change. Okay, so every time you find, oh, this point examiner can ask, okay, this point examiner can ask, then you mark the point. Also, if you have friends of the same caliber who are studying in the who are studying intermediate only and same new syllabus or old syllabus, whatever it is, study with them. You make some MCQ points. You prepare some MCQ questions of your own. You prepare some 25 MCQs in that chapter. Ask your friend to prepare some 25 MCQs. Both of you exchange MCQs. It'll be fun. Okay. If you involve any of your friends, I'm not saying you should have a group study and, waste your time. No, don't. You can just exchange the questions. See, I have made so many questions. Can we exchange our questions? It's kind of a little fun, right? You can do that. So you will understand what he thinks is important. Now, even your friend will understand what you feel is important, right? You prepare some MCQ questions of your own and you can keep exchanging. Next, very important, please don't skip anything. Just because I told you 2 chapters have highest weightage, that doesn't mean you skip the other chapters. No wonder, just because, or let's say procedural compliance 54 pages, no, but it has the highest weightage, 14 marks. You might think, oh, so much, it's difficult for you to cover, you have limited time, or whatever it is, whatever the reason it is, don't skip that chapter. If at all you skip that chapter, around 14 marks, 14 to 15 marks, you will be losing. Or any easy chapter, for let's say that IGST chapter which I told you, I think it got around 6 marks. It was very easy, you could have covered it, there was no issues at all. So what I always suggest is, please don't skip anything. If you skip anything, it means you are inviting trouble, you're inviting yourself to be unlucky in the exam. What if you had studied that chapter? You could have just ticked and come, no? Who's asking you to write the entire answer? Nobody is asking you. So don't make yourself unlucky in the exam. Please study everything. No matter how much limited time you have, how much limited interest you have, whatever it is, don't skip anything, cover everything. Okay? Next, revise regularly. What happens is, 30 days ago I covered first chapter. Now I don't remember what is there in the first chapter. I'm not saying you've completely forgotten, but you still feel, okay, maybe I may have studied that. So please revise regularly, at least 1 month, weekly once. You just open and see. This applies not only to GST but to every other subject. Whatever you've studied earlier, go back and revise. At least turn pages. If you turn pages, what will happen? You will tend to recall, right? You'll tend to recall and your confidence will stay. Next time when you look into that chapter, you'll not feel that it's something alien, or you'll not be wasting extra time on again studying that concept. Okay. Now, solve model MCQ sheets. See, this is on the last. Can you see that this I have kept in the last method, last technique? Why? Because most students are so fascinated by the fact that I solved 500 MCQs, I solved 1000 MCQs. Another person says I solved 1500 MCQs. For what? Why? Why do you want to solve so many MCQs? For what? Instead of that, you could have again read the entire textbook itself, right? See, after you study, after you revise, after you make your own notes, own points, own summary points, when everything is done, and if you feel like there's a lot of time for you and okay, you want to revise, then you take MCQ book, MCQ sheet, whatever it is, and you can just check your knowledge if you're able to answer. But I feel this is not required. You know why? Because if you already know what content is there in your textbook, whatever I ask you, you can tell me, right? There's no point in solving separate MCQ books and not studying your textbook. Right? Most students do that. If you believe me or not, they will say, I will not study textbook. That's the longer way, right? You want a shortcut. So you will say, let me see in this 1000 MCQ book, let me study everything and whatever I'll work on my memory. But how will that work? You tell me. How do you know what your examiner, what your question paper setter is going to ask you in the exam? From which corner of the textbook he's going to ask you, right? So be prepared for the worst. Okay, think that your question paper setter is not a nice guy. Okay, think like that. Okay, when you're studying, think that he is going to give you the toughest paper. Okay, so if you think that way and if you study and if you say every line I'm going to cover, I'm going to mark, I'm going to make MCQs of my own, and also for revision, every page you put a stick note on top of your book, on the top of your textbook, and summarize that page. In that page, what all is there? So one day before exam, or let's say 1 week before exam, when you're wanting to revise, you can just see that stick note, no? So it's as good as you're studying the entire textbook. See, these points can help you for all your all your subjects, not just GST. Okay, all what you require is proper planning and execution. If it is not there, it is very difficult to clear this exam. So more than actually sitting and studying for long hours, it's important that you strategize your studies in the best possible way. All right. So here we've come to the end of how you can study GST. I've given you a detailed analysis of what each chapter consists of, and in the previous attempt, what was the weightage? Okay, just to make you understand that every chapter consists of almost 20 to 25 pages, not much. Only one chapter consists of around 54 pages, and that has got the highest weightage. Also, how you want to study. When you open your textbook for the first time and when you start studying, you should have an idea, no? Okay, so many chapters are there. In this chapter will come for more marks. Okay, it has so many pages. If you already have a frame of mind, see, I've already created a blueprint for you, right? In what chapter what is there, how much marks it might come. Okay, in your next attempt, of course, I don't guarantee that the same amount of marks will come, but at least you can predict, right? Those two chapters you will get the highest weightage, so you might not want to lose out, you might not want to miss out on any topic in those chapters, right? So here, if I can just see your comments. Yes, Akash, will you save this class, ma'am? Yes, it will be on YouTube, Akash. Then Pavan Gangadhar has asked, ma'am, how to go on with section numbers? So many sections are there in GST. Of course, I agree with that. See, when it comes to income tax, when it comes to GST, section numbers are a must, okay? It holds more prominence if you're writing a description paper, right? It holds more prominence. Most importantly, if you look into the previous paper, they have not asked you, section 54 says this, section 14 says what, section 15 subsection 1b says what. They have not asked you anywhere, right? Have they asked you? Even if they might have asked you, it might be just one or two questions. But when you're studying, how you should go by section numbers, I'll tell you now. See, when you're studying, each chapter is in a sequential manner, okay? It's in a sequential manner, 14, 15, 16. So when you're studying, no, in that chapter, you keep a separate sheet and you write down in each chapter how many section numbers are there, and you stick it on the first page of the chapter, okay? Every chapter you do like that. So every time you open that chapter, you just glance what is there in that chapter section numbers. So I feel if you can remember, you remember, okay? If you're able to remember, do it. But if you feel that so much memory, you cannot handle so much stress, or you're unable to recall. See, for some people, as soon as you see, yeah, even after 10 days, if you ask them, even after 30 days, you ask them, their memory is very good, okay? But for people like me, I need to keep revising. I cannot remember which section number says what in what after 30 days, okay? So one thing, if you really have patience and time, go ahead and keep revising. Second, if you feel concept is more important, section numbers, even if 1 or 2 marks, if it comes also, I'll just attempt. See, the more times you study, you will actually be able to recall which section that says. You'll not require to put extra efforts. Try that out. So many times you revise, no, you will automatically tell composition supply is this, that is this one is this, time of supply says this. Okay, section 50, 15 says this. So you'll be able to say it. Okay, so don't worry about section numbers. Chill pill, calm. Okay, if you can do it, do it. If you can't, it's okay. See, you can't do everything. You're not a superhero, right? Right. Some things you will miss out. Some things you will, even if you are a champ, even if you're the topper, whatever it is, some things you will miss out. Okay, and that's absolutely okay. Okay, fine. So I hope I've cleared this. Then Ma'am, can we use June? Akash says, ma'am, can we use June exam books for December also? See, Akash, this GST is a subject, GST and income tax, there is amendments, right? There will be amendments, there will be small amount of changes in every attempt. So what I say, you keep your textbook with you because you're already accustomed to studying with your physical textbook, right? You keep your textbook with you. When the December 2020 relevant textbook will release, they will release it in a few days, okay? When that releases, you open the PDF and you check what has been added, okay? So for June 2020, I had done one video on what all has been added, right? So for 2020, you just keep it and you check what has been added. If something has been added, you can make a separate note of it and you can go ahead with your already, whatever book you're already studying, okay? Don't worry. Then Shri Sujala says, nice analysis. All right, thank you. I hope you make good use of this. Then textbook is not amended. What to do, Varghese Abraham? As I told you, keep your textbook with you because see, don't keep changing your books. Means what I mean to say is, already one book you're studying, you've already made notes inside that, you've already marked, you've already highlighted, you've already put some efforts into that. Now, all at once, if you keep a new book, okay, all at once, if you keep a new book, you will feel like, oh, I never studied all this before. So what you do, you keep your own textbook and you add, okay, you add it through your stick notes or you keep a separate book for whatever has been added, okay, can be done, right? All right, next, Shubhangini Singh. There is some points in video class, but not in my new syllabus. So what to do? See, GST law is the same. Okay, law has not changed. What I'm saying is, in the old book, what had happened, it had come in form of a chart. Okay, but in new book, what has happened? They have given it in a list form. There's not much changes. If you actually, trust me, I have seen page by page. Okay, I've seen page by page, and whatever additions has been made, in the new textbook, I have put separate classes into my video classes. So for those of you who have, for most of my students are here, I know that. So I have put separate additions to the book. Okay, so what you can do is see what is the difference. If very small topics have been added, see, nothing to worry. Trust me, nothing to worry. Like small topics have been added, not big at all. Okay, so don't worry, nothing to worry. All right, so it might take you like 20 minutes to compare both your books and see what has been added. Don't worry. Next, Tejaswini Potan, is this not for professional students of CS? No, this is for executive students. Okay. Again, Pavan Gangadhar says, okay, thank you, ma'am. An ICSE study material unknown is good or have to follow some others. Pavan Gangadhar, I've been telling you, use your module. Okay. When you have Bhagavad Gita, Mahabharata, when you have Bhagavad Gita and Bible with you, why you want to go and refer to 3-4 books? When you know in so much you can finish full 50 marks, why you want to keep 2-3 books and burden yourself? You'll end up studying none. Trust me, if you keep 2 to 3 books in your hand, you will end up doing nothing. Instead, same book, study many times. And what should be that book? Your module. All right? Fine. Yes, ma'am, tell the weightage of marks for old syllabus GST. Santosh R, this here today we are discussing only on new syllabus because all my video classes have been recorded in new syllabus. All right, so a special preference has been given to new syllabus. How many revision want till date of, okay, do you want till date of exam? See, it depends on how much you're capable of doing. Okay, some students can do 1-2 maximum. Okay, if you're maximum, you can do 3 maximum. Okay, if you're able to do 2, very good, very good. Okay, that means you're a pro. Okay, but depends. Again, depends on what is your speed, how much time you have, and what is your capacity to assimilate, what is your capacity to retain. That is also important, right? So again, depends on how much time you have. If you're able to do 2 revisions, then you are good to go. Okay, don't worry. You will feel GST is a law, no, you will feel like you don't remember. But when some question is asked, be able to answer. Tell me why? Because answers are given in the MCQ, right? They're already given in the questions. So you'll be able to manage it, not to worry. No issues. All right. Chandra Shekaran says, ma'am, whether CGST, SGST, IGST Act are same or different. See, there are 3 different laws, okay? CGST, SGST, IGST. CGST is like the mother law, okay? CGST Act is like a mother act. Same provisions will come to IGST Act also. Just that IGST is applicable for interstate, CGST, SGST is applicable for intrastate. So whatever is applicable in under CGST Act, same thing will be applicable for IGST Act as well. So 3 different acts. All right. Radha GP says, ma'am, even for December exam, same material can be used. And will you make video on how you did for June exam? Yes, Radha. Once your December textbook gets released by your institute, then I will compare what is there in your previous and whatever has been added in the new textbook. I'll make a separate video and release it on YouTube. All right. Ma'am, amendments for December exam. December is still very far, yeah. So a lot of time. So when they give me new textbook only, no, I'll be able to understand how much amendments, until what point of time they are covering. All right. So don't worry keep your calm until October at least. They will release, no, they have to tell us until what point they're considering amendments and what all are they including in the syllabus. Okay, so that will be based on your December 2020 module, what they'll be releasing. So once they release, I will make a video for that as well. Okay, ma'am, December exams updated, fine. All right, so here we are. I think I've cleared most of your doubts and questions, right? Can we, if you have anything, if there's anything, please tell me. In 5 minutes, we'll be closing the session. Okay. If you have any questions, you can ask me on what are your concerns about studying GST and what is the issue or where you find difficult, where do you get stuck? If there's anything, you can ask me. Okay. Anything? Yes. Are we good to go? Right. Pavan Gangadhar. See, he's telling study material is okay. Direct tax portion is very dry and drafted in a clumsy way. Okay. And you're following CA, CMA books. See, which exam you're writing? CS exam. So follow CS textbook. Because what is there in CS syllabus is very vast. Very vast. If you take income tax and if you take GST as well, very vast and huge. You are a company secretary, you will be a company secretary and not a chartered accountant, right? So a company secretary's definition will be different. You will not need to know so much in depth as much as a chartered accountant we need to know. Of course, I agree, law is the same, but still follow your own textbook. Okay, fine. Yes, thank you for being here. I hope this was of some help to you. If there's any comments, anything, you can always get back to us on our channel, on the website, on the link, on the phone number, what is there. You can always leave a message. We will get back to you. And if at all you're finding it difficult, see, GST is a law and it has to be interpreted in the right way, right? This is not like strategic management. Strategic management is like, you know how a business has to be done, and it's nice and creative. Okay, it depends on how you want to understand the subject. But GST is like, as you say, you can even, what is there, you learn what is just there. You can't apply your extra mind, extra creativity, nothing. Okay, so it's very important for you to understand, assimilate in the right way. So if you're able to do it on your own, very good, I'm happy about it. But if you're unable to do it on your own, if you find GST difficult, you can always approach the academy. You can always approach us and seek for any help that you require. All right, fine. So thank you for being here. and I hope this session was of some help to you. All the best. Don't worry. And of course, your exams have been postponed to December. I agree. I know. I'm well aware of that. You got, just think of it like you got an opportunity to prepare well. You got an opportunity of having that extra time in life, and be happy that you're safe at home, not stuck at home. Okay. It's this situation is a big pandemic. It is a catastrophic situation. If you step outside and if you see people suffering and dying, this is not a good situation at all. So whatever problems you feel you're encountering is nothing when you compare it to what you see outside, when you see what's happening exactly outside. So just feel blessed that you are safe at home, and and your family is safe, you're able to study, you have good health with you, and also pray for others' health, and let the world be in peace again. All right, thank you for being here. Let's close the session. Thank you.